We're coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you're on the free Odyssey app. Good Monday morning after most of the wild card weekend games. We got the Texans and the Steelers tonight. But 4 out of the 5 over the weekend, really fun, really close, entertaining football games coming down to the end. It started with the Panthers and Rams and then sort of ended with the 49ers and Eagles because last night was just it was really boring and ended with a thud. But, of course, if you're a Patriots fan, you don't care how you're moving on. You are moving on. And a couple of teams we said keep an eye on if they lose that could get into the John Harbaugh mix. Well, they lost. The Green Bay Packers in embarrassing fashion, giving up 25 fourth-quarter points to Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. And the defending Super Bowl champions go down at home to the San Francisco 49ers. Could either Nick Sirianni or Matt LaFleur be out later today? Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. And, it's amazing because Matt LaFleur has 1 year left in his contract. So, you don't want to have a lame duck head coach. You want to see if you can get a contract done. There were reports that they were working on their contract out in Green Bay. But because there's ties to John Harbaugh and his agent and the former CEO, Bob Harlan of the Green Bay Packers, this Robert Harlan, I guess is his name, is the son of Bob, or the son of Kevin. I don't know.
A lot of Harlans out there.
A lot of Harlans. But anyway, there are connections there, too. There are connections here with the Giants. There's connections down there in Miami. When we left here on Friday, I said, man, it's got to be Miami. It's got to be Miami.
Felt the same way, yeah.
And then the more you hear that he's like leaving it up to 4 different teams or potentially 4 different teams for John Harbaugh to decide where he wants to coach. But you said it right, man. This weekend of football was amazing. And last night was a little bit of a dud, but it was a defensive game. Both defenses came to play. Both quarterbacks really struggled. Justin Herbert must have got hit about 25 times last night, as the Chargers had no answer for the blitz package of the Patriots. But when you think about this weekend, 12 fourth-quarter lead changes. That's most in a single postseason all-time already. They had 4 game-winning touchdowns in the final 3 minutes. That's most in a single postseason all-time. 4 comeback wins in the final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, most in a single postseason all-time. And then 2 games with 4 go-ahead TDs in the fourth quarter, 2 in the rest of playoff history. So, that's just unbelievable football. It's exciting. It's riveting. And we're all sitting there waiting for a flag to come out. The whole thing, everybody's doing the same thing. But I have to say, when I think about Matthew Stafford playing through, the injuries that he had, I think about Josh Allen doing what he did with the Buffalo Bills. And, that was such a Josh Allen game. If anybody ever watched him when he was in college, and when he was at Wyoming, and I didn't know really anything about him until my son Gunnar said, Dad, you got to see this kid playing in Wyoming. He's crazy. And back in those days, he was diving over people, running over people, taking hits, getting up, getting checked for concussions, bruised ribs, the whole thing. Yeah. And if you remember, Brian Daboll both told us about Josh Allen. When he was the head coach of the Giants, we would meet with him. And I said, is Daniel Jones kind of like Josh Allen? He goes, well, really, nobody's like Josh Allen because Josh Allen wants to get hit in a football game. He's a football player playing quarterback. He just has really good quarterbacking skills, too, and a very high IQ. But the more he got hit, the more he got into the game. And I was like, I felt bad for him. He's got a knee, he's got a foot, he's got a hand, he's got this, he's got that. And he just played his ass off.
Yeah, there were 3 things that happened in a short amount of time physically to him. He got sat on by a defensive lineman. Then he had to go into the tent. Then he throws the ball and he hits his own offensive lineman's helmet. We've seen that a lot with quarterbacks. He's shaking that off. Then down at the goal line, he ends up hurting his knee, and he's grabbing his knee after he gets into the end zone. If he takes his team to the Super Bowl, now the defense of the Bills was pretty good. They, for defense in 2026, they were pretty good on the road in this game. But if he takes his team to the Super Bowl, this might be the quarterback means everything to a franchise thing that I've ever seen. And the reason, and I know that there's been plenty of other examples of great quarterbacks taking teams to the Super Bowl, but there's been other things that are there, like the Hall of Fame head coach or the great wide receiver or the Hall of Fame defense or the running back. This team, I mean, James Cook has had a great season. He didn't really do much in this game. Their wide receivers and their weapons, there's nothing going on but Josh Allen. They can't even get the ball down the field half the time because his wide receivers can't get open because there's no one with talent on the team but him.
You know the 11-yard tush push they had?
Yeah, which is, well, I think they were trying to let him score at that point.
No. They had the 11-yard tush push.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to let him score at that point.
Okay.
But the next play where it's 1st and goal and there's about 1:05 to go in the game, Jacksonville has no timeouts.
Right.
Buffalo has all 3 timeouts. They let him score there. That's called a broken arrow in defense. On defense, they're in the huddle, broken arrow, meaning, we have to let him score. This is like, this is the only way we can get back into the game is to be down by 3 and then give our kicker, who has the best leg in the NFL, a chance to tie it. And I thought for sure that they were going to,
take a knee
on one play, on the first play, let the clock run down some.
Yeah.
And I know, like, the point being is I'm assuming that Buffalo knew that Jacksonville was going to let them score. I don't know about the booth, whether or not they thought they were going to let them score, but they had no choice at that point. But I was just saying to myself, I'm like, I think I would have taken a knee because you had all 3 timeouts to your Buffalo, and then you got 3 plays. Now, Jacksonville would have had to then try to stop them. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, yeah.
So it was one of those really weird situations.
Well, I was talking about at the time with my friend we're watching. I would have not taken a knee. He was saying take a knee, and I said it's just so risky at this point because you're losing a couple of yards. Then all of a sudden, if you don't get in and lose the football game, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. You wouldn't have lost a couple of yards. You know why? Because they're not playing defense.
Okay.
Like you would have taken the ball and you would have fallen just forward like a foot.
Okay.
And then the clock would have been running and would have been running. And then you'd have 3 shots from a foot out.
Yeah, it was interesting thought process at the time, but of course ultimately didn't mean a thing because, one play in, you get the tip ball and a Trevor Lawrence interception after the tip ball, and that was the end of it. So just a really good season for the Jaguars, and I really thought that they were going to win that football game.
They got a lot of good young players on that team, man.
And they should be back, and the coach looks like he knows what he's doing, and the defensive coordinator looks like he knows what he's doing. They should be back and in the mix, but Josh Allen just a little too much for them. But, man, he is that entire franchise is that guy. I mean, that's why
they got a new stadium being built.
Well, yeah.
I don't think for a minute that he doesn't have anything to do with that. He does.
Well, yeah, him and the governor is making us pay for it anyway. Go ahead.
Whatever. But because of their success with him as their quarterback and because of the excitement that he generates in Western New York, that's why you get a stadium.
I was rooting against them yesterday. I didn't want him to advance.
The reason I want him to advance is because, he's a superstar. And there's no Joe Burrow. There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's no Lamar Jackson in his way. And I told you, I said, in order for him to make it, I believe he's got to stay away from the Houston Texans. Now, their next game, obviously, is going to be at the Broncos. And I'll tell you, it's not going to be easy either now because that's one of the better defenses in football, too. And by the way, that game's going to be on Saturday. So Saturday's games are going to be Bills, Broncos, 49ers, Seahawks. They haven't determined.
Yeah, they have. What time?
The
networks.
I haven't seen the networks or the time.
Well, the time FanDuel Sportsbook has got the times, so I'm assuming that they're right about it.
I don't know. They haven't. The NFL has not officially put out the time yet.
Well,
they say Bills, Broncos first, which would mean 3:00.
So they've got Bills, Broncos Saturday, 4:00. They've got Niners, Seahawks Saturday, 8:00. And then they got Rams, Bears Sunday, 1:00. That's what it says on FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right, okay.
So I'm assuming
I always check the NFL website. And I don't
think they would have put it up there if they didn't know.
All right, okay. I'm sure they are because they are in bed with the NFL after all. They are the official sportsbook of the NFL,
exactly,
so they would know. Yeah. But when I think about also what the Bears did, I saw the biggest winners this weekend for me were the 49ers. I mean, they have no business winning that game with all those injuries. And Kendrick's playing middle linebacker after he got there about a month ago.
Lose Kittle during the game.
I mean, they've lost everybody. The big one that they got back was Trent Williams, of course, their left tackle. Sure. When he's out there, he is a huge difference maker. And I think that was one of the reasons they won yesterday. But, man, I'll tell you what, between A.J. Brown, Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, the drama surrounding those three guys, the ridiculous way that they play football and the way that they have played offense this year, I mean, they have to – either they move on from the coach or they got to get rid of A.J. Brown.
Yeah, and A.J.
you know who loves A.J. Brown?
Well, everybody loves A.J. Brown.
Well, Mike Vrabel really loves A.J. Brown.
Well, that's right, because he said, as long as I'm here, A.J. Brown's going to be here, and then all of a sudden, that's not the case. That would be an amazing acquisition for the New England Patriots if that happens. It's just, I don't understand how that whole thing fell apart. This is a Super Bowl winning team. This is a talented team. A.J. Brown is one of the best wide receivers in football. For whatever reason, the coach, the quarterback, and A.J. Brown have just not been on the same page at all this year, and they never figured it out, and it came to a head on the sidelines, and then, of course, in the biggest moment, one of the biggest moments in the game on a third down, as CBS Sports Network is playing it here. Not the most perfect pass, but if you're A.J. Brown, you got to catch that 10 times out of 10.
You're a $30 million receiver.
You got to catch that 10 times out of 10.
Yes, not only catch it, but run with it for a touchdown.
Yeah, just disappointing. And, I mean, you know, Nick Sirianni's yelling at him, and I hear Michael Strahan at halftime going, I don't understand why he's yelling at his receiver. Well, I mean, this receiver's been a pain in the ass the entire friggin' year.
Well, I'll tell you why he's yelling at him. He's yelling at him because it's fourth down. And A.J. Brown is lingering on the field because he's disgusted about something. And they can get called with 12 men on the field. And he's yelling to him to get off the field.
Yeah, stop sulking. Get off the field.
Stop sulking. You could cost us 5 yards here.
Yeah.
That's why he was yelling at him. And, and supposedly, after the game, I saw the Nick Sirianni interview, but, he's like, me and AJ get into it every now and again, but I love AJ. We always love AJ. Everybody loves AJ. This guy loves AJ. That guy loves AJ. But he's your typical wide receiver during a game. He could be a real big distraction and pain in the ass for the head coach, for the quarterback. Like I said, I've always said this. I've never played with a guy like that, that always wants the ball, that is screaming and yelling at you, that is sulking on the sideline. I've never played with a guy like that. And I'm sure he's a nice guy. I mean, I'm sure away from everything, he's I bet you he's a great dude. It's just that when he puts the uniform on, something happens to him.
Well, I mean, he's one of these guys that seems to care more about what his game looks like as opposed to what the team is doing. It's always been that way. If he's got 2 receptions for 17 yards, and the Eagles win 20-16, he's pissed off. He's not happy. That's the type of guy he seems to be. Whereas if he's got 10 catches and 175 yards and 2 touchdowns and the Eagles lose 40-37, he's still okay about it.
I would say the 2 deep passes that Jalen Hurts did throw to him, I mean, both of those would have been ridiculous catches. They weren't catches that, went through his hand. The one went through his hands, but he had to dive for it. It was like Jalen Hurts is throwing great passes to him. That last pass that he threw over the middle, he should have had it. There's no question about it. But the 2 deep passes, they were poor throws. But then again, it's a 40-mile-an-hour wind.
So are we going to see Nick Sirianni or Matt LaFleur lose their job? I mean, it sounds crazy as we sit here. And we went over, it was during the middle of the season where you were reading off the stat pack and you said, I'm going to give you several coaches that have had the best record to start their career, and they're all Hall of Fame coaches. And then you go, there's one coach who is currently coaching, who is that guy? Best record in the history of the NFL to start their career. And Matt LaFleur was right there on that list. And then you got Nick Sirianni, who's coming off a Super Bowl championship and another division title. But here you have a very fickle general manager who runs the show out there in Philadelphia, who already put Nick Sirianni on the hot seat when they lost the Super Bowl. He is someone that is always forward thinking and doing things and always moving forward. So you've got that. And then you also have an embarrassing loss to end your year, 5 straight losses to your biggest rival. You got Caleb Williams with a cheese grater on his head in the postgame going, grating cheese. You're seeing Ben Johnson completely disrespect Matt LaFleur 10 times over on the field with the handshake, post-game, interview, locker room. And if you're the Packers, you're like, I don't even care what his regular season record is. We just got completely punked by the Chicago effing Bears when this guy takes over the team. Ben Johnson, that is, he goes, I can't wait to beat Matt LaFleur twice a year, and here we go.
And by the way, Green Bay was kicking their ass for 3 quarters. I mean, the only thing I can tell you is that if it were me, there's no way I'm firing the guy. I'm giving him a 3-year contract extension. I'm running it back with him, and because I know how competitive he is. And by the way, if he does get let go out there and they can't come to an agreement on something, he'll go right there at the top of the list. He'll have his choice of jobs. Whatever John Harbaugh doesn't take, I think now he leapfrogs Kevin Stefanski.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And again, like if you were the Giant head coach or Kevin Stefanski were the Giant head coach, if John Harbaugh doesn't take it, I'd be happy with any one of those 3 guys. Any one of those 3 guys. And so I hope that Green Bay doesn't make that mistake. I really do. I mean, because I think that they got a good thing going on out there. Micah Parsons stays healthy. That's a completely different team. The thing that's probably sour in the mouths of the fans out there is the fact that they blew leads at the end of games when they had the lead, where they were dominating the team they were playing for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden things would go haywire, momentum would change, and the team would actually kind of fold, both more defensively than offensively. I mean, but then again, on the other side, what can you say about what Ben Johnson has done and Caleb Williams and how they've won so many games in the last 3 or 4 minutes of these games, and the ability to come back and all of a sudden make plays. It's interesting watching these games, and you hear a lot of the announcers talk about momentum shifts in games. And I always, when I was announcing, I felt that way too, because you feel it as a player too when you're on the field. And when you feel that shift, all of a sudden, how do you stop that tidal wave of momentum? And I thought Green Bay did that when they scored their touchdown.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right,
I know.
But then now all of a sudden you're missing field goals, you're missing extra points, and all of that stuff adds momentum to the other team. And then all you need is 1 or 2 big plays, a blown coverage. Next thing you know, DJ Moore's in the end zone for a touchdown, and Caleb Williams just fires it to him. I don't think there's a guy that has improved more this season than Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, and that has a lot to do with the head coach, if not all to do with the head coach and Ben Johnson. And that play that he made where he rolls out, jumps up in the air, and then basically just uses his arm strength to get the ball down the field is one of the more physically impressive things I've seen a quarterback do in a number of years.
A couple of things about young quarterbacks. He and Drake May both. They both had turnovers.
Yeah.
And they both overcame the turnovers. Drake May had a bad fumble and had a bad interception. Well, it was more of a tip pass than anything else. But Caleb threw a couple interceptions, but they overcame those things. That's when you know you got the right guy. That's when you know the guy doesn't go in a shell, and you have the right guy, and you believe in that guy, and that guy's going to lead you back. You throw a couple interceptions. All right, let's get over it. Let's get over it, and let's move on. And these guys were able to overcome some bad plays and then ultimately lead their teams to victory. The other guy that I thought that outplayed what I thought he was going to play was going to be Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean, that entire Panthers team, man, really, really impressive. I mean, and you could make a real case that they should have won that football game. And, the Rams have had, some of their issues outdoors, and a lot of respect to that team that no one was giving any respect to at 8-9, shouldn't have been there. And they played their ass off when their backs were against the wall because it looked like they were going to get completely blown out. And they came right back and had an opportunity to win. So, yeah, very impressive. If you're a Panthers fan, these are the type of years that even though you lost at home in the playoffs, it was such a great year for you because you feel like there's a lot of great things.
And now
ahead.
You finally see a little bit of by the way, both they and the Jags, a lot of good young players throughout their team, both on offense and defense. The Jags, especially at wide receiver, by the way.
Yeah.
Now think about this: Bryce Young loses to Matthew Stafford, has a chance at the end, right? Mm-hmm. 4 plays, no good,
right?
And Sunshine down there in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence has a chance to beat Matthew Stafford.
Well, Josh Allen.
So Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen both won those games with final touchdown drives. Both of the younger quarterbacks had a chance at the end, albeit, slim chance, especially for Jacksonville. But unfortunately, those quarterbacks didn't come through and their team didn't come through. But that doesn't mean there isn't a future. I don't know Did you hear the Liam Cohen post-game press conference?
Of course. Yeah, with the woman.
With the woman?
Of course I did, yeah.
Could you imagine that here in New York?
No.
That is the complete that just goes to show you what coaching here, coaching in Philadelphia, coaching in Chicago, coaching in New England compared to coaching in Jacksonville, Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, she gave him a pep talk, which was crazy. I mean, listen, of all the crappy things that get said to athletes and head coaches, and they can deal with it. I mean, that's the life they've chosen. They make a lot of money, all of those things. I mean, it was, I guess, cute to see, but it was, I mean, it's also, I mean, it was a little ridiculous. So you don't have to do that in front of everybody. I mean, you could go and you could talk to them, like off, away from the microphone. Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to say that to them, but yeah, that's it's never going to happen here. You're not going to see Pat Leonard say that to whoever the Giants.
Could you imagine Rich Cimini saying that to Aaron Glenn at the end of the year?
Yeah, keep your head up high there, man. Listen, you represented us well. Keep your head up there, Aaron. Yeah, no way.
Hey, two other things. Josh Allen, 6 total TDs, 0 turnovers in his past 6 playoff games. That's how good he's playing. And the Bills are the only team left in the NFL playoff field right now, ranked in the top 7 of preseason Super Bowl odds.
Oh, okay. Shows you that this year was very unpredictable.
Crazy.